Engagement is a key tool when working with the homeless community, and I witnessed engagement in practice in numerous organisations and some really clever tools of engagement too. Engagement is really essential, especially in America, because the homeless community is so large and they don't have the resources to get people into housing. So we need to find ways of engaging the homeless community and making sure that their needs are met. And like in the UK, there's a lot of work that's done by charitable and non-profit organisations, and there's also a huge amount of work being done by social enterprises too, and mission-led businesses, which is really taking off in America, and I learned lots about when I was over there too. So engagement, I first got involved in engagement when I met an amazing guy called Pastor Scott Wagers, who is the pastor of Cham Deliverance Ministry, and they have been ministering on the front line to the homeless for years and years now, since Pastor Scott was in college, I believe, and they were fantastic to take me under their wing when I was just arrived in Silicon Valley, and we met at a conference, and I went out with volunteers from Santa Clara University, the ministry, some of the press, and there were various volunteers and different people there from the church, and we went out and we cleaned up the homeless camps and got to talk to people who were homeless, and it was a really interesting experience for me because I've never encountered these types of camps before. And in Silicon Valley, they demolished their largest the largest homeless encampment in America was demolished in Silicon Valley at the end of 2014. And as I visited in 2016, we can see that these camps have dispersed and they're propping up all over the place, and people are moving on as the camps get swept, and we're seeing the local government are going in, and the city of San Jose are doing sweeps on a regular basis and getting rid of people's belongings. But that's not really solving the problem, and they're just kind of playing cat and mouse, and we're seeing the people just move on and set up camp elsewhere. So it's really interesting to see how this is creating a real divide between the government and the people, and the officials and the people. And people are getting really reluctant to engage with with the authorities and the officials. So Pastor Scott and organisations like that of Cham Ministry and the Mercy Mobile are crucial and really essential and important in delivering essential needs services and a bit of support and guidance to those who are sleeping rough. And as I say, they're sleeping in jungle encampments, so they're sleeping in almost like living like animals in some conditions, and it's really quite shocking to see in one of the richest nations in the world. And it gives us a little glimmer of what may become in the UK if we don't get a handle on our homelessness problem here. So I was really impressed by the services that were provided, and all voluntary services that were provided by those in Silicon Valley. And I was really grateful to be taken under the wing of Pastor Scott. And I've stayed in touch with the guys since I've come back from America, and I hope that I'll be able to go out there and visit them again one day soon. So when I moved on to San Francisco from Silicon Valley, I landed at the organisation which I was the most excited to see in California, and this was Project Homeless Connect, which is an organisation which is totally pioneering in terms of the way that it works, and it aims to mobilise partners from the public, private and voluntary sectors, and it's getting everybody together, it's getting them all under one roof, and it's saying let's respond to homelessness as a unified force, and let's do it under one roof all together and give as much help as we possibly can. And once we've finished this one-stop shop event, let's continue our support and keep engaging with people and keep letting them know that there are services that can help them. And ultimately, let's try and move them on and get them engaged with housing and supporting services if that's what they require or desire. So Project Homeless Connect is spread all across America now, and it's working in a really successful fashion. And in Project Homeless Connect, I think is actually gone internationally now, and people are taking lead from the model all over the world. And it's, as I say, it's a very forward-thinking model of accessing skills, talents and resources from all across the sectors, just like I aim to do with People's Property Shop and social property investment. So I was lucky enough to go and see Twitter HQ and see some of what the corporate sponsorship side of things is like too. And I know that there is great value created in corporate sponsorship between the parties, and Project Homeless Connect work with lots of corporate agencies and help them to build their social responsibility within San Francisco and beyond. And also it helps them to generate revenue, and it helps them to keep providing services and keep going out and supporting people on the streets. So the corporate companies are meeting social responsibility and engaging their employees and coming out to help, and it really is agreements which really benefit everybody. So it's really amazing to see that in practice. So another couple of partners which I'll just mention quickly of Project Homeless Connect are Lava May and Tender Cuts, and they are street support services which are using really clever tools of engagement to connect with those who may be a little bit more disengaged from society. And it's just got a love all, serve all feel to it, and I really like the vibe down on their street locations when we visited. And Lava May are recycling old city buses, and they're turning them into mobile shower units for the homeless, and they're helping to restore dignity and giving people access just to personal hygiene facilities that we don't realise when, you know, not experiencing life on the streets. Especially in America, it's so difficult just to access somewhere to go and clean yourself up or have a wash. So there's a lot, most of public places in America restrict access to those who are homeless. So it can be really difficult just to maintain your dignity and maintain your cleanliness. So Lava May and Tender Cuts, there's a nice story actually with Tender Cuts. Tender Cuts, the lady that runs the business Tender Cuts, it's actually an organically grown, it's no business, it's just a non-profit which is going out trying to spread some love and cheer. But the lady Raquel that runs Tender Cuts was a local businesswoman that had wanted to use her services, and instead of say giving soup to the homeless, she thought, well, I'm a hairdresser, so I can go and cut their hair. So she just started walking the streets and started chopping hair. She sounds similar to the sort of person I think that I am. But she people loved her, and she now was really attracted to working with Lava May because they have such brilliant eye-catching branding, and she saw them in their really prominent locations, and she joined forces. So that's a nice example of how you can use, as I say, skills, talents and resources from across the sectors. And volunteers can be a great tool in helping us to combat some of the more challenging issues that are associated with homeless. So going back to Project Homeless Connect, they have a vision clinic which I was lucky enough to go and witness in action. And vision care is something which is really hard to come by if you don't have the Medicare or any medical insurance in America. So Project Homeless Connect provide a volunteer-led opticians service, and they have volunteer doctors and assistants and nurses and all skilled people and professional people that are coming and donating their talents and skills rather than doing something that's going to be enabling of homelessness. They're really giving something which is going to have a really great outcome, and they feel good about it too because, as I say, they're using their own skill set and their own talent. So I'm going to summarise now, and then we're going to move on to the next aspect, which is our Housing First focus projects.